Hello. Yes, hi, my name's Leisha. I'm the fundraising manager at Greenpeace. I've been at Greenpeace for about 9 years now, and over that time I've always been in fundraising, and over that time my role's changed 5 or 6 times, so I've got a bit of experience in lots of different areas of fundraising. So thanks for inviting me to come along today to share about my experiences in working in this space about Renew Me and relationships with our donors. So just for clarity, first of all, I'll say that just decided for today's presentation, I've decided to focus just on regular givers specifically. Doesn't mean that what I share won't be applicable to a broader range of donors, but it's, I thought I would focus in on regular giving and relationships with our regular donors. So if you thought that I was going to come up here and give you a great answer, this is the thing that you must do that will change this thing, improve your retention rates. I'm afraid I'm going to let you down. But I think there's rarely an opportunity or a decision that you can make that will make a single thing that you can do that will make a huge difference to your retention rates. And in my opinion, that a good donor retention and development strategy is one that will go after the marginal gains. What are the things that you can do, the small things that you can tweak or change or do differently that will result in the 1% difference to your retention rates? So in the Greenpeace world, the UK office has been pursuing this strategy for the last 5 years. And by making lots and lots of little changes, they are seeing their retention rates year on year improve by a few percentage points every year across all of their segments of donors. So this is something we're trying to do. We're definitely still a work in progress though. So if anyone wants to continue this conversation after this, please connect with me. I would love to have a coffee with you. So yes, as I say, I'm just going to be sharing some of my experiences about working in this space, and then maybe something hopefully will inspire a thought or an idea or a question that will help you find what your 1% is. So what's this all about? If it's going to come up. Yes, this is the map that Joel put up earlier. It's a nice sort of framework to think about managing relationships and the different stages in the relationships. And so, yeah, today we're focusing in on the Renew Me stage of relationships. So in my opinion, there's no sort of neatly defined borders about what you do when you're in this space. There's quite a bit of overlap with Keep Me and Win Me Back and Endear Me. But essentially it's about reconnecting. To me, it's about reconnecting with your donors, reconnecting them to your mission, to re-inspire them and maybe adjust the way that you're engaging with them if it's not working very well for them. And then if they do leave us, then what you want to do is make sure that they've had a great experience and so that you've listened to their feedback so that you're in a good position so that when you do come to try and win them back, that they've got a good memory of their experience from when they were donors with you. So when I was thinking about this topic, Renew Me, I was trying to figure out what are the key principles or pillars of that sort of underpin this concept. And I came up with this. I don't know if it's the right answer, this is what I think. But essentially, it's about 3 connected things. Being smarter with your data and using the tools that are now available, the data that you've got, maybe partnering with agencies or other people that can help you get the insights that you need so that you can speak to the right people at the right time in the right way, in a way that's meaningful for them, and try and re-inspire and reconnect them to your mission so that they become committed donors again. So today I thought I'd just share 3 things. I've tried lots of different things here and there in this space, but I thought I would share 3 things. One thing that we have done and have implemented, something that we're currently doing right now, and something that we want to do in the next 12 months. So something that we have implemented already. I imagine most of you have a supporter services team in your organisation that handles incoming phone calls from lots of people, but including regular donors who want to cancel their gift. So a few years back, we've been doing that for years, trying to retain people that call in. And a few years back, we realised something. We looked at the data and we realised that phone cancellation requests were going down. So by itself is, yay, that's great. But then we also looked at the data and we could see the cancellation requests were going up. Okay, not so great. And the data also told us that retention rates on the phone was about 15% at the time, and email retention rates, trying to retain people over through an email conversation, was under 5%. So what we did is we brought the supporter services team together. We did a bit of a workshop, and they came up with this proposition, basically to test outbound retention calling. So to facilitate this, we added a 3-day-a-week casual role to the team to add some capacity. So we could test this. It was just casual role initially, so that because it was a test, so we weren't sure it was going to work. And then we provided some training on communication and negotiation, objection handling skills. The team together, they developed a whole procedure on how they were going to handle this, so that they owned the process. And basically what they do now is they make 2 attempts. So every email and letter that comes into the organisation from regular donors who want to cancel, they make 2 attempts to call them on the phone and have a meaningful conversation with them. And the aim is to try and re-inspire those donors, find out what's changed, and offer a flexible giving solution. So sometimes it's just a matter of changing the payment method or changing the debit date or something like that. Or sometimes we reduce the donation, sometimes we put it on hold. So basically trying to have a proper conversation with them rather than just actioning an email. So the results of that test was successful, in our opinion. Outbound calls were achieving a 40% saves rate of the people that they spoke to on the phone. Inbound call saves rate lifted from 15 to 30% because of the focus on this. After we did it for 12 months, I did some analysis on the performance, and I found that there was no impact on future upgrades. And in fact, people who had been saved are a few percentage points more likely to say yes to an upgrade in the future, which I didn't expect. And given I calculated roughly how much staff time is devoted to this program in terms of the cost of the extra staff member we put on, and the current team, and how much time that they spend on both inbound and outbound calling. And I calculated that the cost per save supporter was between $25 and $35. So if you consider, if you didn't make any retention attempts at all, and you just tried to reactivate them in 6 or 12 months' time, what's your cost per reactivated supporter compared to what the cost of a save supporter is? You'll probably find that it's much more favourable to try and keep them on board, and then they stay on board for the long term as well. So basically, coming back to my key point, we analysed the data, saw the opportunity, and we found a way to sort of reconnect and re-inspire the donors that we could reach on the phone. Okay, so something that we're doing right now, it's a bit of a work in progress, we've done some stuff, we've still got lots more to do, is focusing in on the data side of things. So we wanted to take advantage of this era of machine learning and algorithms and collective data insights and all of those things to try and identify who we should target, who we should talk to about what and when, rather than on simply a calendar, like we're sending these people for upgrade because it's 8 months since their last upgrade call or whatever it is. So basically, yeah, I think this is my new tagline, getting smarter with data. So for us, the opportunities we see at the moment is these 3 things. There's lots of opportunities that I'm imagining, but we haven't started a conversation about that yet. So the first thing we tried last year, we did a test around predictive churn. So we had an agency that developed a machine learning sort of model to look at regular giving database and predict who is most likely to cancel in the next 3 months, a regular gift. So we did an initial test, and then we wanted to test to see what kind of intervention we could make to see if we could affect those cancellation rates. The initial test proved quite promising. There's so much more that we have to figure out and test, and at the moment we're just having conversations about how we operationalize that and test it even further, but it's definitely promising enough to continue working on that. We just started conversations about how we, in our opportunity in our upgrades program, how we optimize the list of people. So rather than every 12 months, we send everyone for an upgrade call. How about, what if the data could tell us, oh, these people are ripe for upgrades, you should call these people now. And that might have been 6 months since their last one, it might be 3 years after since their last one. But what if the data could tell me, these people you should call for upgrades this month? And hopefully we get a better ROI on that program. And then that hopefully we're also talking to donors at the right time for them. Obviously it's not going to be perfect, but if we can improve the balance, I think it will make a big difference for us as fundraisers, but also for the donors that we're engaging with. And the third opportunity that we've been exploring is we did a test end of last year around our deeply lapsed cohort, so people who terminated their regular gift at least 5 years or so ago, or more ago. So we partnered with Lemon Tree on that to look at our deeply lapsed segment of supporters and identify who we should target for a reactivation campaign. And the segment that our top segment that we identified converted at a rate of about 6% in comparison to the control group of 2%. So again, shows you a good opportunities there. So we want to continue working on this and identify ways we can expand that work into other parts of our telefundraising programs. Basically, we're using the data to connect with the right donors at the right time so that we can reconnect and renew relationships with those donors. So something that we want to do in the next 12 months, it's what I could possibly call the nirvana of managing donor relationships maybe. How can we frame our message in a way that makes sense and connects to what is important for the donor themselves, not what we want to tell them, but how can we communicate with them in a way that makes sense for them? And so it's about this audience analysis and values-based segmentation to try and create meaningful supportive communications. So a number of years back at Greenpeace, we tried to do this. We did a lot of research and we gathered a lot of data. But then when it came to operationalizing it, we hit a lot of roadblocks and we couldn't really figure out a way for it to have an impact. It was good work, but yeah, I think maybe we did it a little bit too soon or not in the right way. More recently, our Greenpeace East Asia office has been doing a lot of work in this space. And so our East Asian office covers China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and South Korea. So they work across different regions and cultures and populations and everything. So they wanted to map their audiences. And so they basically partnered with an external agency to do this research and create these segments, if you like, of the population based around their basic value orientation and their social situation. And then, like, okay, that's great. So what does that mean for environmentalism, specifically for Greenpeace in this region? Then they came up with these different attitudes that are prevalent in these different segments of the population. And so then they were able to identify, okay, well, these are the people who sit here, these people we need to target, not just for acquisition, but also for donor development retention work as well. And they're currently in the process of overlaying this on their CRM to identify of their current donors where they're over and underrepresented and to inform their acquisition strategies in the way that they communicate with people too. So what if I could take this, this model and this research, adapt it to Australian audiences, using machine learning and other data insights tools, combine it with the power of that, and then overlay that information onto all of our regular donors? What would that mean for our data communications then, donor communications? So basically, again, go to the original point, data plus connecting supporters in a way that's meaningful for them. You renew and reconnect with your donors. So I don't know about anyone else, I'm pretty excited about that prospect and I really want to work on it. So if anybody has implemented successfully values-based segmentation and changed their communication strategy with donors, please let me know. I would love to talk to you. But hopefully it's something I can work on in the next 12 months. So Lemon-Tree's definition of growing relationships is like basically when the other person feels understood and valued. And so I think if the other person feels understood and valued, then we can renew and rebuild relationships. And I think you need data, and you need to use it as intelligently as possible in different ways to help you answer questions you didn't even know to ask. And that data should inform you who you should talk to, when you should talk to them, how you should talk to them, how to reconnect and re-inspire them so that you can renew your relationships with your donors. That's it.